Technical against the bench and against Bob Knight. Steve Reed, an excellent free throw shooter, will have the honors shooting the technicals.
Looky here, looky here.
But Indiana, despite the fact they've not been scoring, Isiah Thomas has his first hoop. Thomas again. Can't stop him. Carolina having a devil of a time getting the ball in. Blocked by Tolbert. The little things are all adding up and going to Indiana. Inside to Turner. Nice touch. 63-50. Isiah Thomas, when it comes down, Indiana will be champions. Bobby Knight joined only 6 other coaches to win this championship more than once.
That game was basically over with at the start of the second half. We came out and played really, really well. Isiah Thomas got 2 quick buckets, and anyhow, we played as well as a team could play and ended up winning that. And that may be the best game there ever was.
Do you think Donald Trump needs to do outreach now to try to heal some of the rifts in the Republican Party?
I don't care about the Republican Party. I don't care about the Democratic Party. You know, I'm tired of this party stuff, that we're going to do what's right for this party or we're going to do what's right for that party. Let's just get together and do what's right for the country.
Say what you want about the late controversial coach Bobby Knight. He was a lightning rod. To some, he was a figure of traditional masculinity. To others, he was someone who did not have control of his temper. But what you couldn't say about Bobby Knight was that he wasn't a straight shooter. And that being able to be a straight shooter and tell men what they needed to hear is what made him an all-time great coach. And a coach that saved Isiah Thomas's life.
I want people to tell me the truth, just like this thing's killer tell me that other people don't have the liberty to tell me, and it's good. Like, I'm not a person that's sitting somewhere like, yeah, I don't like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's supposed to say it to me, yeah. And every now and then I'll tell him something that it's just what's supposed to be said. And I think this has a lot to do with these guys being their mother's son. If I could just sum it up. When you're raised by your mom, you're a different man. You're a different boy. And you don't like hearing stuff from other men.
Isiah, I'm going to say this, and don't take it personal, okay? Bobby Knight was an asshole, man. I could not have played for him. How did you handle that, though? I mean, the screaming, was it all the time?
Cool. So was Lambeer.
We're going to get to him in a minute, but that was Bobby Knight.
No, but he screamed, but this is what he was screaming. Hey, you better than him. Don't take that from him. But he was very demonstrative, right? Mm-hmm. And very, you know, and when people would see it, the announcers would be like, oh, Bobby's really giving it to him. But he would be saying, look, the whole week we practiced. This is what the guy's getting ready to do. And damn, he just did that to you. Don't let him do it. And that's was the conversation. So that's why you can hear it and not necessarily pay attention to him being so demonstrative, because you knew what was coming out of his mouth were the things that he was trying to help you get better at. So this guy you were playing against wouldn't take advantage of you.
The general consensus around Bobby Knight as time progressed was that he was a man that was out of control. But as an old school kind of coach, he did create results. Depending on who you ask, some people really liked him and others really didn't like him. But when you listen to Isiah Thomas speak about him, you can tell that Isiah Thomas reveres him because he told his players what they needed to hear. And they won because of it.
When you was in Indiana and you was with Coach Knight, you was like, what did my mom and I get myself into?
That was day one. So Mike Woodson, was responsible for recruiting me, and I was like, I never forget. Like after the second week of practice, I called him over, and you know how we do, right?
Yeah.
I called him over, and I was like, "Hey, man, you lied to me." Like,
just like what you said.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, man, we got to talk." He's like, "Zeke, what you mean?" And so I had him up in the corner. I was like, "Hey, man, like, why you ain't tell me the truth, man?" He's like, I told you the truth. I said, I said, Mike, this is different than the way you described it. And he's like, no, it's going to be all right. And eventually it was. The thing that I loved about Coach Knight, now that I'm older, is that he had the courage to coach me. He had the courage to have confrontation with me.
I think that's a very important point because as men, we can have confrontation without it being personal. This is something that we learn when we grow up with strong fathers. And unfortunately, one of the issues that we have sometimes in the black community with black men is that when black men did not grow up with their fathers or just having a comfortable sense of their masculinity, being challenged by other men is often taken as personal, something that you hear may speak about here.
If I could just sum it up, when you're raised by your mom, you're a different man. You're a different boy. And you don't like hearing stuff from other men. Like, that's really one of the biggest issues I see in hip hop and in sports, that you just have a bunch of guys that were raised by their mothers. So they never heard a man's take on what they're doing. So they can't hear it. And then we get upset, Killer. You be like, but he'll listen to his girl. He'll listen to his girl because he was raised listening to a woman. He don't listen to men at all. You'll say he have a problem with authority. No, I have a problem with men. But if a woman tell him something, she can get him to bring his whole check to her.
The thing that I loved about Coach Knight, now that I'm older, is that he had the courage to coach me. He had the courage to have confrontation with me. He had the courage to make me do right when I wanted to be wrong, right? He didn't let me slide. He didn't let me get by. And it would have been easier for him to do that now that I'm looking back, because I was pretty good at the time, but I didn't know how good I was as a player. He basically was like, no, you got to go to class, man. If you don't go to class, you can't come to practice. You can't lay in your bed all day and think you're going to come to practice and then go to class. That ain't happening. Now, of course, that's what I wanted to do. That's what we all wanted to do.
The very important point that Isiah makes here is that it's very easy for someone that is dealing with, maybe we could say, a feminine mindset to think that I can just do what I want to do because that's what I want to do. But that's not the way structure and order work. And maybe there's a different set of rules for women these days. But for men that want to accomplish things, it's iron sharpens iron. And there wasn't any iron sharper than Bobby Knight, of course.
There are just no good women left. Oh, none of these women want to be a traditional woman anymore. There's no good women left. What they mean is there are no dumb women. And they are right, because what is it? 52% of women that are aged 20 to 39 are now childless, which means that we are waking up from the patriarchy, and they don't like that. So it brings me joy that 52% of women are childless, because that means that there's less women for them to choose from. And then the other 48% of women that do have children, some of those women also woke up from the patriarchy. Some of those women are like, you know what, it's going to be me and my kid and these men. And these men are like, well, what am I going to do? And our answer to that is we don't know and we don't care.
Much later.
Stand, John. I feel sorry for your mother. What you say about my mama?
Much later.
I feel sorry for your mother.
What you say about my mama?
I have a particular affinity for the late Coach Bobby Knight for several reasons. One, he coached my favorite player of all time, Zeke, Isiah Thomas. The second is that he was a spitting image of my high school coach, and he turned out to be my favorite teacher who taught science, by the way. Shout out to Coach Thompson. But I remember one particular game, I was bringing the ball up the court, and I was a pretty good ball handler, and I was trying to be fancy. I did a behind the back, between the legs, or some variety of that, and crossing the half court line, I lost the ball, and I got an over and back violation, and Coach Thompson ripped into me. He was really upset. But my father was watching the game. My father seconded the notion. He's like, what are you doing? You get the ball across half court, get into your play, and let's go. And there's nothing really to do except to reflect on my misses and get better. And that's something that men need. Of course, if we have a world like the young lady speaking before, saying basically, I'm going to do whatever I want and I don't want any man to impart on my freedom. Well, in 10 or 15 years, it's just going to be a mess because some people have to do the hard work, the necessary sacrifice, the discipline things to make sure that things in the future turn out a certain way, like winning a national championship or things of that nature. But I think Bobby Knight has the best way of explaining how people who don't put any effort out, well, what kind of result they're going to get.
You can talk about all the motivational speeches and phrases and devices in the world, but the greatest motivator of all is your ass on the bench. There is no better motivator. Ass meets bench, bench retains ass. Ass transmits signal to brain, brain transmits signal to body, body gets ass off bench and plays better. I mean, it's a hell of a sequence of things that takes place. Well, it might be for you guys.
These days we live in a kind of feminized world where what you do is what makes you feel best, or you do what is going to fulfill your happiness. But we understand that if you play for Coach Knight, and you heard Isiah Thomas speak about it, the first couple weeks, there was no fun. But what happened at the end of that season? He won a national championship. And so can you win a national championship or do something great by just being in a place where you get to do what you want all the time? No, you cannot. And can you win a national championship or have great achievements without having great men like your father or mentors tell you the truth about yourself? No, you cannot. Iron sharpens iron. And unfortunately for a number of men, especially these days with young ladies speaking about how their kids and more specifically their sons don't need men, you have men who take it personally when iron tries to sharpen their iron. Or better said, other men criticize not them as a person, but them as in what they're trying to achieve or their behavior or what they're trying to do. And I think we have to, those of us who have grew up with male masculine role models and those that don't, have to understand that when you are being criticized by a man that is trying to get the best out of you, it's not personal. And it would be good on all of us to understand that it was a man that is a mentor that's looking out for us, trying to be a better person or a better producer in society. He gets on us and says, hey, listen, you need to get your butt in gear, and says it in a masculine way. We have to learn that it's better that he said it to us than the fact that he didn't care. And unfortunately, a growing number of men are growing up in situations where they don't have a man in the house because more and more young ladies are saying that everything masculine is toxic, at least until it's time to get stuff done. Then all of a sudden, people are looking for their next Bobby Knight. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.